Good morning. I selected today's topic because a lot of people are very scared of healing because many of the spiritual teachers and many of the well-known personalities and a lot of so-called well-wishers often tell them, don't do healing. Karma applies. You will suffer. You're not supposed to be doing this. Healing is not the way to help others. And of course, the question comes to me that should I be doing healing? Well, let me tell you my journey. I was a reluctant homeopathic student and got into the medical field purely through the universal conspiracy. I had worked hard not to get admission by securing just 2 or 3% less than the traditional percentage that normally would help you get admission. And yet at that year, the college decided to increase the seat by 50%, and I got admission. I tried failing, it didn't work. And I realized the universe is out to conspire to make sure that I learn homeopathy. And nothing else but homeopathy, because my family was very fond of homeopathic medicines. I was, in fact, I was brought up with homeopathic medicines, if at all. I ever took medicines, it was generally a homeopathic medicine. So I studied, and initially I was reluctant, but when I saw smile on patients when they came back, bahut aaram hua, it was so much of relief. I'm really grateful. And, all those expression of joy, peace, tranquility, gratitude, that really inspired. And after that, there was no looking back. I did try a couple of times withdrawing from the practice, but I realized that no, that was not the right time. However, my illness made me explore various healing modalities because for some reason, homeopathy did not help. Even my seniors couldn't help. And I had to look around to see beyond body. And Reiki, and there are many prevalent healing practices I learned at that time. In fact, every weekend I was in some other the workshop. I had become a spiritual shopper, like many of you who begin your journey. And out of great intent, I had taken my mother to a healer, and she saw the weird movement, doing this. So she saw it and she kind of got so scared. She dragged me out of the clinic and said, "Is this what you do? You know what you're doing? Where are you getting into? And don't stop doing this. You will adversely get affected. You have no idea all these energies and you play with. It can even hurt you, your family, your children. You're a mother. You're a qualified doctor. What are you getting into?" And after that, she stopped cooperating with me. And she started making sure that I do not attend any of this training. I tried reasoning out. I said, agreed, probably you would pick up some negativities. However, when I was in a homeopathic college and I was doing internship, going to municipal hospitals, I was falling sick pretty often. At that time, you did not tell me that don't go to a hospital, you'll pick up germs. And she said, but that's different. You were becoming a doctor. So I found it very weird because for me, both were same. Anyway, so I, coming from Indian culture, you do not argue with parents. So some of the trainings I did without telling her. And some of them she came to know later. But I continued because there was some inner urge to keep learning. I remember one of the trainings, I saw a gentleman. He was one of my teachers, and he would freely hug. There were around 35 to 40 participants in his workshop, and he hugged everyone. Later, I asked him, don't you really worry? Don't you really fear picking up, negativities? Because at that time, whatever healing I learned, there was a lot of concept about positivity and negativity and picking up negativity. Today, in retrospect, nothing of this matters. So he was, I was a little surprised to see, and not even just casual hug. He would hold a person and stand for a few minutes, and he would really kind of merge his energy with theirs. And I said, what's going on? It's not done based on the training that I had. And he explained that it's not that I never pick up. I did. There was a time when I was sick for 1 month, but you developed immunity. These are the ones who need our energy. How can we keep them away? And that particular statement had amazing impact. Later, as I started learning more and more, when I did hypno-curriculum, when I did regression work and foreign energy management, I started understanding karmas, past life regression, so-called foreign energies in a different light. I understood how subconscious mind manifests and why it retains some of those so-called negativities. So I realized that foreign energies, there are energies all around. Every thought is an energy. And the thought which is not yours is a foreign energy. Even the departed ones who leave behind the traces of their unhealed emotions and incompletions, these are also thoughts, these are energies. They are around, but not all of them would affect you. It's like so much of bacteria and viruses and germs all around, but not everybody falls sick. Even if there is a food poisoning in a wedding food, only a few of them would fall sick and rest can handle it very well. So where is the problem? The problem is your resistance, your immunity, and your need for certain experiences. If you have chosen to suffer, the foreign energies will make you suffer. If you have chosen to go through pains, the foreign energies will make you go through pain. If you have chosen to go through exploitation, the foreign energies will make you feel exploited. And if you have even chosen to go through certain helplessness, the foreign energies will make you feel helpless. Now, why would you choose to go through certain experiences? Well, some people have learning through their experiences. Some people have a need to figure out the brilliance through their experiences. So some people, say, for example, choose to go through a lot of suffering to figure out their own strength of endurance. So they become strong at the end of the suffering. Now, how can we eliminate suffering and then become strong? Let's make it as a part of another video. Coming back to karmas. Karmas are nothing but reversal of experiences. So you experience what you give it to others. However, it's not what you do. The basic intent behind what you do is very, very important here. Why do you do healing? And that too for others. You may do healing out of pure benevolent desire to reach out and help somebody because you have gone through that suffering, or you're simply inspired. Secondly, you do healing for pure professional reasons. It's like any other profession. You give your services, you earn out of it, and that's it. And third is your own personal growth and evolution. The more you heal, the more you understand how mind works, how energy works, how life works. And that makes you grow as an individual. And there could be, of course, mix and match. If there is an ego involved, pride involved, the righteousness involved, then there can be a repercussion. If you heal, being a pure channel of resources, healing will never have karmic repercussions. You're healing because you are the channel, the energy flows through you. And those who are ready to receive will get it anyway. And for that matter, you don't need any training certificates, you don't need anything. A baby is a healer. The dog in the house is a healer. They take away so much of your suffering. They radiate healing energy. And they're always there. Your presence in the family, amongst people, is healing. And you don't have to perform healing as such if you are a fountain of healing energy. And that does not generate any karma. The healing out of righteousness, healing out of ego, of not being good enough, and then covering it up by being a healer who's needed, who's cherished, who's valued. If you have those benefits in your head, probably what you're escaping through those benefits can backfire on you. And that can generate karmas. Now, why do many healers suffer coming from the background as a regression therapist? 70 to 80% of the healers I have regressed, they have regressed in past life, but they have suffered a lot. And they have also made a lot of people suffer. So they've come out with such gory, atrocious stories of having done horrible acts, criminal acts, making people go through a hell. Now, are they suffering in the current life because of healing, or they are into healing because they are suffering, or are they suffering because of the past life? Now, this is the whole story. My theory is you do borrow a past life, you do download some past life reprogramming if you have a need to suffer. And why would you have a need to suffer? You would have a need to suffer to understand what is it to go through suffering, to have enough compassion for people who are suffering, and to help people go through a certain. Can you just keep it on mute, all of you, please? Thank you. So if you have a need to go through suffering, you would invite past life reprogramming where you have made others go through suffering. Now, why would you need to go through suffering? At soul level, there's nothing positive, nothing negative, nothing good, nothing bad. However, if you have chosen to get into a healing profession or healing services, you may need appropriate compassion, understanding, awareness that you may get through your personal sufferings and problems. And because you need this suffering and problems, you would have past life reprogrammings based on that. Okay. Now, if you learn to rediscover the benefits that you would have through your sufferings, the brilliance in the suffering, apply that brilliance, you don't need to suffer. And you can continue being on your life plan and life purpose without suffering. And because you don't need, maybe some of your past lives will go back into the archive folder, or some of the past life reprogramming will get deleted, so you do not suffer. And karmas would only apply if you feel that you as an individual are healing. The moment you know that the healing happens through you, it doesn't apply. A lot of healers, they recommend that you must have energy exchange when you do healing. It's not about energy exchange. Have a very practical, pragmatic approach to reduce the karmic repercussions. So I'm giving my services, I'm taking money for it. So nothing is mine, and it is kind of complete. from my end. And you don't have ego or pride of being superhuman. And when you do not do any healing out of ego and pride, you don't necessarily always generate karmas. So when you heal others, you're putting others under a sense of obligations, and they would like to give you some favor back that generates incompletions and karmas. Does that mean you should always charge? No. Again, so I'm one of those probably facilitators who would say, you don't need to. If you're intuitive enough, you know whom do you need to charge and whom you do not need to charge. And even when you charge, charge for the time given and not for the energy or expertise you give, because if you're pure channel, who are you to give anyone? It happens through you. Okay. So your attitude behind taking money from others matters a lot. Again, money helps you remain grounded. So you charge as a more of a humbling experience, because it is more difficult for most healers to take money than giving healing. So that also creates a lot of humbling, and that humbling is needed for you to remain a channel. So you charge. And best would be to remain completely aligned so you know how much whom and to whom you can charge. If you want money, remain open to, doesn't matter from where it comes. Sometimes it does come from other sources, and it works out pretty well for you. Okay, coming back to the karma-free healing. So in a nutshell, have your intent very clear. Be a pure channel and do not let your eye come in the way when you are healing. And forgive yourself for making others suffer, whether you know you have done it or not. Probably you have a past life reprogramming. Simple forgiveness exercise or self-forgiveness helps you a lot to reduce your suffering. Take the brilliance in the suffering or the need for suffering and remain aligned to the brilliance so that you can ease your suffering, not because of healing, but because of your need to remain aligned to the whole healing experiences. And the greatest thing I would say is do not heal. Empower others to heal. Everybody is capable of healing themselves. You can guide them, you can mentor them, you can inspire them, you can teach them. After all, it's their choice whether to be healed or not. If you want to free yourself from the whole story, it would be best to teach people self-healing and let them know that you have a power within you to help yourself, to heal yourself, to take care of yourself. Healing energy is all around. Probably they have got disconnected. Teach them how to reconnect to this energy so that they can heal themselves, they can help themselves, they can recover themselves. They feel empowered enough, and what goes around comes around, right? So when you empower others, you will be much more empowered. When you strengthen others, you'll feel much more stronger. When you make others happy, you will be happier too. And yet, have no intent. Just be the fountain of healing energy, fountain of knowledge, fountain of love, fountain of care, and let people around you feel inspired to be as happy, as joyous, as contented, and as overflowing with love that you are. Thank you. Any question? Let me just check here. Okay, done. Okay, Sapna. Yes, Sapna.
Hi, ma'am. Good morning.
Good morning.
You spoke my mind. I was visiting my mom, and my mom's neighbor was in the hospital.
Mm-hmm.
Started to help her,
Mm.
and she came out of the hospital, and I fell sick.
Ah,
So I was just this is all was on that is what you spoke was on my mind, and I understand. I mean, you've said these things through courses through along the way, but I don't. Yeah, it's just I understand, but I'm like I don't know what's going on. By
yeah.
uh, yeah,
So when it comes to our own relatives and family members, healing them becomes a personal, subjective involvement. Okay. Does that mean you should not? No. Learn to get detached from your relatives. It doesn't happen overnight, but over a period of time, that does happen. You do feel emotionally affected when your loved ones are unhealed. And especially when they remind पूरी दुनिया को heal करती रहती है मेरा खुद नहीं करती है. You know, those dialogues you hear pretty often, and that awakens your ego and pride. And then the healing that happens is more out of ego and pride and not necessarily is a pure channel.
yeah. This person was. I mean, I didn't know her. She was my mom's neighbor. I met her for the first time. I actually haven't even met her. But it was just because I'm here. I think she's come. She felt sick. I landed here, and that night she felt sick. I'm like, she's come in my space for a reason. I should help. So yeah, I'll keep all your words in mind. But I just
Yeah, let people approach you, empower them to heal themselves, and keep your eye out of it.
yeah.
It comes just naturally, but be vigilant enough not to do it from your eye. If the eye comes, the repercussions come.
Thank you, ma'am.
Yeah, and you may fall sick. You have a right to fall sick. Not everything is because of healing.
Yeah.
Okay.